Before we start the show, just a word from our sponsor, Undeniable Press. For all your screen printing needs, located in the Corktown district of Detroit, Michigan. If you ever need any t-shirts or any other little promo accessories, posters, or whatnot printed up for you, go to Undeniable Press. They're located, once again, in the Corktown district of Detroit, Michigan, and you can reach them at facebook.com/undeniablepressdetroit. And those same guys who do Undeniable Press also have a clothing line called 20 by 20 Apparel. It's very much wrestling themed, all sorts of nostalgic themes in regards to the history of wrestling. And you can go check out their clothing line at 20x20apparel.com. That's the number 20x, the number 20apparel.com. Now let's start the show.
Fresh is the word.
I'm Jim Duggan, got long wood for plenty hoes. I keep it fresher than fresh, but you already know. You suckers bummy, I'm money, I got a ton of flows. My weed loud like a motherfucking thunder roll. Your shit quiet like you ballin' on a budget though. We see your kicks and we laugh and yellin' what are those. You see me shining like a suit on puffy. You know my grindin' shit is too strong, buddy. That's why the dude call money. I be stuntin' like it's nothing at all. Cause it's nothing to me, it's probably something to y'all. Trying to smoke like me, then come and fuck with your dog. Got a closet full of kicks, you can't cop it them all. And I'm fresher than the freshest, you can tell it's in my essence. Bitch, you see the way I'm rapping, yes I do this shit to death. Until I'm running out of breath, or tell somebody cut a check. But either way you know it's fresh, and either way you know it's fresh. Fresh, we fresh. Fresh, 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 goddammit, we fresh.
Welcome to the Fresh is the Word podcast. I'm your host, Kelly K. Fresh Frazier. We have a great show for you, like always. I love the guest that we have this week. She was born in America, but made in Japan. Who is that? It is professional wrestler Kris Wolf. Kris Wolf is most known for her time recently in the Stardom wrestling promotion in Japan as a part of the Oedo Tai faction. They're a bit of a sly heel faction, super cool. Her wolf persona is a bit sly, but she can be very lovable at times, always looking for the meats and the butts to go after. Only a few years in the game, she has definitely become one of the most well-liked Joshi wrestlers in Japan. It was so cool to finally talk with her. This has actually been a long time in the making, but our schedules and also my hiatus from podcasting as a whole, took a while, but I'm glad it happened this way. During our chat, we talked about her life before wrestling, in which she was a photographer, did other things. Then she moved to Japan. Then she became a wrestler. It was, super fun. We talked about her time in the Stardom promotion and, some of her favorite matches. We talked about some of the other talent, some of the up-and-coming talent in Stardom. It was super cool. We talked about some of the other things that she does outside of wrestling while living in Japan. It was super cool to talk with her. She's going to be embarking on a little bit of a world tour. She calls the Wolf Tour, coming up at the end of March through the end of April, where she's going to be hitting London, Manchester, Dublin, Baldwin Park. She's going to be in Berwyn, Illinois. I'm going to be there for the Rise event on April 13th, so I'll be able to actually meet Kris Wolf in person. And then she's going to go back to the UK and then ended out in Barcelona, Spain. All those dates are going to be on the show notes for this episode on freshasthepodcast.com. So definitely give a shout out to Kris Wolf. Check out some of her matches online. There's stuff to check out online. And just to remind you how you can follow the podcast online, we are available on pretty much all your regular podcasting platforms. Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Stitcher Radio, Mixcloud, SoundCloud, Google Play. Just type in Fresh is the Word. And on Apple Podcast or iTunes, whatever you want to call it, if you want to give us a good rating, particularly 5 stars, then I would be grateful. I'll even read your review on an upcoming podcast. If you do, I'll read every review that comes up on any of the media, any of the platforms that I catch. Definitely, these recent episodes are almost like a relaunch, a new chapter, a rebuild. So I definitely need everybody's help to, if you dig the podcast, to share it with your friends, tell people about it, put it on your social media, put it on your websites, do an article about it. I don't care. Do something. You can also follow Fresh is the Word online on Twitter at FITW Podcast. On Instagram, it's at Fresh is the Word Podcast. On Facebook, it's at facebook.com/Fresh is the Podcast. And on SoundCloud, it's at soundcloud.com/Fresh is the Word Podcast. And if you want to follow me, K Fresh, you can follow me on Twitter at Kelly Omega Fresh, and also on Instagram at Kelly Omega Fresh. On Facebook at facebook.com/KFresh, and on Mixcloud at mixcloud.com/Rensol. And if you want to email me, go ahead and email me at djkfresh@gmail.com. All right, enough of that. Let's get to the interview with Kris Wolf. Like, it's like super cool because it's like it seems like over the past like couple years, like there's been a really cool ascendance with you as a professional wrestler in Japan. You're like such a really unique individual, so I think that's why a lot of people sort of gravitate towards you.
A lot of people are weirdos. I like it.
So, you're originally from Chicago, right?
I was born in Chicago, but I was basically raised in New Jersey. But like, my mom would always talk about Chicago because that's where she first started, and she was an immigrant from the Philippines. And she's just like, the winters are hell, but the spring is what you go for.
How long were you in Chicago? Or, I mean, in both of those places, Chicago?
Chicago, I was there for maybe 2 years.
Okay.
Apparently living in a basement with my mom that belonged to a house with some old people. I don't know, something like that.
Nice. Where'd you go after that?
New Jersey.
New Jersey? How long were you in New Jersey?
In New Jersey, I was there until I was 17, 18, around there. Then I went to Philadelphia, then spent some time in New York. I mean, like, I didn't actually rent in New York. I was just, like, crashing in New York. And then to San Francisco. Sorry, I'm making breakfast.
It's all good. So what kind of a kid were you?
Quiet. I was really quiet. I was painfully afraid of people. I had a couple of experiences and influences in my life that were like terrifying, so I just didn't trust humans for a really long time. My mom, though, like, she helped me work through the shyness part and like in general the gambatte sort of spirit she kind of instilled in me. She was just like, no daughter of mine is gonna be able to make it in this country if she's shy. Because, I mean, she knows firsthand how hard it can be. So, like, you can get your dreams. That's a promise, right? But you got to really work. So, she would make me sing everywhere and anywhere. She'd be like, Tina, go to that corner, sing a song. Well, and I can't say no to my mom. I love her, and she's strict as hell and terrifying, little old Asian lady. But
right.
I do it. I would go to her work and she'd tell me to sing. I would visit her sister in a convent and I'd be told to sing in front of all these nuns. I would go on a bus ride with her for like 2 hours or 3 hours, or however long the distance is. And she'd be like, Tina, there's no TV. Go in front and sing. And I would be horrified because people are so scary. And there's like all these underlying things that you're not thinking of as a child, but you and you can't understand why you feel this way, but you're afraid of rejection or
Yes.
like judgment and just strangers being scary or hurtful or whatever. But I did it, and I think at that point, not then exactly did I really come to realize the lesson she was trying to teach me, but I did take note at that point that like after all these old people wanted to become my friends, I was like, why am I scared? Why am I so scared of people? And then like slowly with time, learning to make friends, I realized everyone just wants to make friends. I don't know, maybe.
How long did it take for it to sort of get easier?
I had my ups and downs. I think like middle school and high school were really hard too because you're becoming like a conscious person. You're starting to be more aware of yourself and your surroundings, your situations, and the things how they work, and you feel so out of place. So that was really hard. So I would start strong and I'd make a shitload of friends because I'm just so excited to be friends with everyone. And then things outside of school would like happen or be rough, and then I would just like retreat into my shell and be like, oh fuck people, but I gained more strength and trust in myself after actually maybe around 19 is when it started. Like you go off to college,
Yeah.
you get to explore things for yourself, you get to break away from labels that people have put on you that you might have grown up with because you go to school with the same people. I was kind of lucky that I would like switch schools a lot, but at the same time it's still the same. Once you're in this one group or this one image, you're stuck there. But like after 19 I started to like bounce around a lot more, and I realized I don't have to spend my time with people I don't want to. I don't have to spend my energy on people I don't want to, and I can be who I want to, which is just someone who wants to explore, live life, and feel, I say everything. I mean, truth is everyone just wants to feel good, but like everything maybe, because then I can really appreciate the good stuff. Sorry, that was a rant. Ta-da!
Growing up, what were some of your interests? What were some of the things that were like your creative outlets?
I really loved kung fu movies. Like the old ones that would come up on Saturday morning TV or something. Really like that. I loved, because I woke up so early too, I really loved Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon.
Okay.
That was really nerdy, but I loved it. Loved it to bits. I really enjoyed singing. I loved Broadway musicals because my mom loved Broadway.
Okay.
That's how she also taught me how to like read and write and sing. She would like let me listen to the song and write down the lyrics that I heard and then read it and then correct those misspellings and my pronunciation. God. But I liked the arts and I liked being active. I wasn't always active. I had my stages where I would be like really, really heavy and squishy, and then I'd be really, really, really skinny, and maybe not really skinny, like regular skinny, whatever. I fluctuated a lot, but my interests were always in between performing, writing, and active stuff. Climbing things. I love to climb.
Okay, so you're when you got to be when you turn 19 and you're starting to like realize that there's more out there, you can be more control of your life, ready to explore. What were you doing at that time? What were some of the things that you were able to start exploring?
Well, it was away at university too, so like I was meeting new people, and I tried to meet and understand as many people as I could. Then I was also doing graphic design, trying a new kung fu school, because I did kung fu when I was in high school. And then I was trying to find a new one out in Philly, but I didn't find one that I connected with so well. But there was still something inside that felt like I have so many things to do. What am I going to do? And I just had like energy. I would sneak into fancy looking buildings and explore the floors and find really strange ceilings painted with the sky and strange astroturf indoors. Like rich people do strange things. I don't understand. But and they're like, they seem like little things, but I spent a lot of time exploring, and like even exploring the everyday stuff, getting lost in the woods and finding your way home, or like driving for hours to a random beach or through a city or town that you've never heard of. I mean, I felt really free, maybe.
What did all that sort of exploration sort of teach you? The person that you are today. What did that all like? What did you learn from all of that?
um, I think from my lessons from my mom, and that up to that point when I was 19, I think the main lesson from that was that as long as I can do something, I'm okay. Like I'm mentally and emotionally and whatever, spiritually, I'm okay. As long as I can do something, as long as I can make a chance for myself, no matter what the situation is, I'm gonna be okay.
Right. So, I read before that when you were in San Francisco, you started doing freelance photography.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, what about it?
yeah. What was what was that experience like?
Oh, it was hard. Because I mean, like, in general, photography is not an easy industry to get into, or art in general, or
Right.
anything of the service mind. But I wanted it. I think I started off with photography wanting to be a war documentary photographer,
Yeah.
because I feel like maybe the other thing is, as a kid, you know, I didn't feel like I had a meaning, like, or a point or a reason. Like, I didn't understand, like, why am I here? I mean, I still battle that, right? I think everyone does.
Right.
But, I was looking for something that could actually, like, change something. And I thought maybe war documentary would be good, because there's so much suffering going on in the world, and we see, like, only what's in front of us. At least, that's how I felt. And then I realized that I didn't have the stomach for it. I was I was shooting a rally in San Francisco. I don't remember what it was for. I think it was like a free Tibet one. Super peaceful, but there was this one guy. There's two guys actually standing on these structures that were quite tall, and they were just getting a view of the speeches that were going on. And they started to like sink and then slowly fall back. One guy immediately jumped off. The other guy like was holding on, and in the panic, so he was frozen. He hit the back of his neck, his head on this fence that was behind them, and he collapsed to the ground. Before I knew it, I was in the circle. There's like maybe 5 people crowded around him to see if he was okay, but I was already taking pictures. It was me and 3 other photographers, and 2 people were there just to help him. And then when I realized what I was doing, I don't know, I felt so conflicted, because it's like I'm doing exactly what I set out to do, to be uh, someone who catches these moments, but at the same time, there was something inside that felt wrong for not being someone who helped instead,
Right. Right.
that I couldn't, like, I don't know, man, it was just like, and I looked at the pictures because I had seen him shaking, and I was automatically doing it. I felt so disconnected and so far away. I couldn't. So I stopped that. um, then then I was interning for a girl who's doing photography, and she was into fashion, and I was getting into that. And she was showing me some works of like fashion fine art photographers who were, I don't know, their photos are beautiful and kind of creepy, but they make you feel unsettled. And I kind of thought, maybe that's where to go if I want to poke people and see if they can think a little bit more.
Right.
In in your regular fashion spreads, you see nothing but the product and a pretty face. What if I can get those people to feel something more or think something more. I don't know what I was thinking, but that's what I'm hoping for. Some vague goal and dream. Not unlike today.
This sort of search, this sort of like search for a deeper meaning in the things that you're doing. Where did that come from?
um, I don't know. Doesn't everyone have that?
Perhaps.
You know, I mean, like, I think automatically we set upon the things that we're told to do because this is how we're already shown how to live life and what to do and all this shit, and that's absolutely fine. That's I can't say that it's right, but it's a path. But then I feel like through meeting people that didn't choose just one path, having an upbringing where it didn't fit what everyone said you should have, having people who were like you know, in good ways and bad ways, not what people said they were, or whatever. I think it opened my mind to that things aren't always properly labeled in this life, and there is not one way to go about it. About living. I think, and then if there's not just one way, if it's not just get a job and work and go out every once in a while, then what is it? And not to say that that's not right either, because we need money to live. And I strongly support the 9-to-5 job, because you gotta hustle sometimes. It just, there are these systems that exist. I get it, and this is what we need to do to live, but that still doesn't answer what the point is.
Right.
Oh, fuck.
So, when did you decide to go to Japan?
I decided to go to Japan in 2012 after me and my fiance broke up, because I was real sad. I had a friend that lived around here and invited me out to like hang out and get things together, and like I was done with my photo contracts and stuff, so I was like, that sounds like a good idea. I think I will. And then I just ended up staying instead of going back home. I mean, I got a job and I got, the visa and stuff, but yeah, I just didn't go back.
What was it about Japan that like you just didn't want to come back home?
They're in general, I think moving to new places can help you really reset and try to fix things. I mean, your problems are still your problems, regardless of whatever location you go to, but having a change of scenery brings out a new perspective. And I think for me, cycling through the mountains and the forests and along the water gave me a new renewed feeling of what was it? I don't know, man. You spend 20 days camping and cycling and peeing wherever you want. You just feel brand new. I don't think I could do that anywhere else in the world without getting attacked. So, thank you, Japan.
What did you do once you got out there?
Cried for like 2 weeks, and then I rented a bicycle and a tent and cycled from Niigata to Hiroshima. I don't know how many miles that is, but it's quite far.
What got you into the interest of becoming a pro wrestler?
More soul searching. So I was teaching English, and I was talking to. I had like known that I wanted to do something physical because I was so bored, and I was always making kids do push-ups and burpees and stuff. Man, they were buff. But
all your students coming out with big old arms and
yeah, they're like, my name is Toshi. Yeah, I want to be a bodybuilder now. I talked to some people who were doing stunting, and like they were stuntmen and stuff. They would work in a bar during the day and then go out. They would work in the bar at night, and then they would go stunt and everything during the day and do cool things like in movies or TV shows. And I was like, that sounds like fun. Maybe I'll check that out. So I was starting to research that direction, but a substitute teacher was in my school one day when I had already given my 2 weeks. I was like, I'm just gonna go for something. I don't even know what. Quit it. Live off of my savings, which was stupid, but you know. This older Japanese lady was like, why don't you try Joshi Pro? And I'm like, what? She's like, Joshi Pro Wrestling. And I'm like, that's a thing? And because I only knew WWE, and like, it's cool as fuck. I'm not cool as fuck. Why I go there? You know, like, how does one become a pro wrestler? So I looked it up on YouTube. I had a friend who directed me towards Stardom to check them out, and I saw them online and was like, holy shit, those little girls are beating the shit out of each other. Can I do that?
Right.
Yeah. Never mind that I was like almost 30.
All of them are like teenagers in their early 20s.
Yeah, seriously, man. Like some kids are starting at 11 and then they make their debut when they're 13, 14. So it's like they've been training for years to get to that point. Yeah. I don't know. So I was like, fuck it, let me try it. Here we are.
Who ended up training you?
The first trainer was Fuka Kakimoto. She's the GM for Stardom, and she trains all of the new girls.
Okay.
She also, she would also take care of the girls that were injured and could kind of train, but not really train, like as hard as they would in the regular practices. After that, training was led by Nai Takahashi, and then after that, Io Shirai. So yeah.
How was those training camps? You know, to get ready to wrestle.
It was intense, but it was really fun. Like I really enjoyed my green girl training because it's just, you know, we're all like, let's just do it. What do you want to do? You want to try that? Okay, let's do that. Okay, so it's like a lot of cardio, wrestling and kicking, lots of strikes because Fuka used to do MMA, so we did a lot of bag work and rolling around on the ground. I just really liked the vibe, which was really like, yeah, you can do it, we can do it, yeah. And I'm very much like that.
What was what was your sort of thought process when you were going through the training of at Stardom? You know, what was like sort of like, how long did it take before you started to see things click in your mind?
It took a while because there was a language barrier. I mean, even now my speaking skills are harder. Like it's easier for me to say like translate from Japanese to English than it is English to Japanese. But yeah, I remember it took me forever. It wasn't until I met Heidi Lovelace and what's it called, Dragonita and Hudson Envy that I realized that a snapmare was kubinage. You know, like it was like being a child because I don't know the moves or the names in either English or Japanese because I don't really have a background in wrestling. But, you know, to connect, this sound goes with this move, so that must mean this is a word and that's what it means. So it was very strange. It took a while, and I think even now sometimes like things get blurred in my head. It really depends. The nice thing about wrestling is that that's the international language. You just get in the ring and you'll figure it out.
Right. That's how they did it back in the day. That's how they call it in the ring. Sometimes they don't even call it. They just look at each other.
Yeah, just look at each other and you better block it. If you don't, whoop.
Do many of the other women, wrestlers, do they any of them know English?
Yeah, some do. I mean, some know, some like just working English. But I'd say Io and Hana and Kiona can have conversations in English. You know, they might not be completely grammatically correct,
Right.
but like they can get ideas across and roughly understand what you're saying, as long as it's it's like simple. Yeah, no problem.
Io is my favorite wrestler on the planet.
I understand. She is amazing, even if she's dick. I'm just kidding. Dick. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, she's amazing. I mean, and she's really cool. I think she works really, really hard. Uh, I like to think of her as a very complex character.
Right.
Yeah.
The the whole Kris Wolf character, like, how did that come about?
I don't know. I was fucking around. I was doing my test to pass the Stardom professional test or whatever, and one of the things you have to do is wrestle with a senpai. And so when I pinned my senpai, I let out this like celebratory howl. It just came out of my throat and like, and so I was like, okay, great. So, the promoter asked me what my ring name was, and I was like, Kris Wolf, because I'm so creative. It was either Kris Wolf or Christmas, like mass as in more, but then when Christmas comes, it could be Christmas. Obviously, I mean, maybe that would have been awesome. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, even though like you said, it doesn't seem like there was a lot of thought, put into the Kris Wolf name. At that point, what did you do? What did you do to develop that character? What was going through your mind?
Um, I think Kris Wolf is just really an extension of myself. Probably a less thought-driven version of myself. I think that's me when I'm drunk. Or like really, really excited, or probably more drunk because then I like lose control over words and processing thoughts are hard. And it's just, I just have feelings and it's to shove you off your chair, things like that.
Right.
So it's really just me letting go.
I felt like when you were earlier telling me the story about being a kid and having to sing in front of people, like while you were telling me that, I'm like, I feel like there is this connection to the Kris Wolf character in that.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I feel like Kris Wolf is that release. It's that spirit that was just like pent up for all those years, I don't give a fuck.
But and the thing is, what I like about it, there's like this, you got seriousness, and then you got humor, and then you got worry, all like sort of molded into this one person, and I think that's what a lot of people are sort of drawn towards, with Kris Wolf, is that you have all this sort of relatable shit going on while you're watching these matches and before, and even if you're just outside the ring, like you're doing something that is entertaining.
Did you ever watch Steven Universe?
Nah.
No? So, like, the main character, Steven, like, I had a really hard time watching the first couple of episodes because Steven just keeps fucking up, And it's like, he's really trying. He's trying to do a good job, but he keeps fucking shit up. Why are you fucking shit up, Steven? And so, like, I hated him. I really fucking hated him. And then, like, I realized as I'm watching and I'm seeing him develop, and he's getting better and he's learning. He still fucks up sometimes. Like, I realize I hate him because I see that in me, I maybe, I don't know. People see that I'm just trying. I mean, we're all trying, right?
Right.
I am. I think maybe you have a point in that. Everyone's just trying to live.
We're just trying our best. What can you do?
Just trying to kick someone in the face. God.
So, during your time at Stardom, I feel like, more recently, there's been sort of this ascendance. More people around the globe have, come to know who you are, especially, when you've become part of the Oedo Tai faction. How has been the past maybe like year or two been like for you? Because there has definitely been a little bit of a buzz in wrestling for you.
Yeah. I mean, like The Oedo Tai thing actually started not too long after I debuted. Um, it like evolved from the monster group from
Yeah.
Hana Kimura's mom. But so it's been really fascinating to see how it's developed from like the place where all the foreigners were to where it is now. You know, it was the band of misfits to the cool gang. So to watch that progression, that's been really interesting. Um, I do kind of miss being the home for those people who feel out of place, but I have a lot of fun with this group too. So I'm really into that.
Right.
The past 2 years have been really, really rad as far as it goes with reaching out to more people and like having that energy from the foreign crowds. My biggest supporters have always been the foreigners and anyone who's loved Oedo Tai here in Japan. Because usually they do root for the baby faces more than the heels, right? So,
Right.
but I've always had like good support here in Japan as well. I think these past 2 years have made me see that as a wrestler, maybe I can go other places, and explore on my own and, try new things. I've been so tied to Japan and I love it. But that last tour, the last couple of tours in different countries are making me think that I really should see more of the world because there's also more wrestling, there's more wrestlers, and I'm a wolf. I need to explore.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you over the past year or so, year or two, you definitely been going to different places. You've been coming back here to the States. You've been going to Europe. How's those trips been?
Those have been great. I mean, I feel like they open so much in my mind, and then they give me so much joy. Uh, Things are done so differently that I also do have to adapt. It is less strict. So I find myself wondering like, what am I supposed to be doing now? Like with ring setup and like cleaning and doing all this shit that goes into the prep work of having the show. And then it's like, oh, there's a crew for that.
Like you
So
don't
that's
gotta do
pretty neat.
that. You're here
You
as our
can just
guest.
focus on wrestling.
Like Chris, you're as a guest here. You don't need to do all that shit.
um, but yeah, I think it's also really neat to see the different types of rings that exist. Like aside from sizes, some of them don't have springs, some of them have springs, and I think that's really cool. Seeing everyone's characters is also really fun because, I mean, I also don't interact with so many fuzzy faces here in Stardom, so I'm like, wow, there's all these hairy men around. I wanna be a hairy man too. But yeah, I don't know. I like experiencing things. So I've been really grateful for the chance to wrestle in these different companies around the world. I'd like to do more.
Oh, and we would like to see you more. with with Kris Wolf, whether you're
Mhm.
in the ring, outside the ring, whether you're on social media, you always like pretty much stay in your character, which is really fun.
I mean, because like the reality is, Kris Wolf is Christina, which is maybe also kind of terrifying. um, and they're just different layers, I suppose. Like, this is Kris Wolf when she isn't eating meat. She can speak complete sentences, and her brain can kind of function. Oh, fuck. It's kind of true. That's why I'm kind of like, oh shit.
What outside of all the wrestling stuff that you do out in Japan, how do you stay busy?
Work. So I get involved with. Sorry, I'm trying to make tea, and I should probably reorganize my cabinet.
Right.
So, like in Japan, English teaching is the most common job because it's needed, you know, like not many people can speak English and the Olympics are coming up, so they want to integrate more into like an international economy, some shit, I don't know. Read a newspaper once, there was only once. Um, but like there are other things too. There's lots of startups that I really enjoy. I love technology and social media is really fun. So sorry, I'm so bad at focusing. That's what happens when you try to multitask. Basically, I try to help with startups and ideas in hopes that they work out. Right now, I am working with Zest, VLS, and that's an online English teaching school, which is cool for Japanese people. But because of the requests of so many of my followers, we're also going to offer Japanese lessons. So if you're interested in strictly pro wrestling Japanese, which I don't think is the only focus people want to have, but like I will also be doing basic Japanese lessons, and then when you get into the higher levels, there's also other teachers available, like straight up real Japanese teachers that can help you figure out grammar and shit.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's something that I wish I knew. Like, I wish I knew how to speak Japanese, read and speak Japanese.
Well, now you know of a service you can go to. Plug. But I like people. So that's basically what I do. I meet people, talk to people, and if their ideas are interesting, I want to be a part of it. That's all.
Is there anything like down the line you would like to probably be more integrated with, work with things more?
I mean, you mean like with companies or something?
Yeah, like is there anything that you would like to get involved with in the future?
Mm.
Anything that you've been like, it's been noodling in your head for some time that you might want to get involved with?
I mean, so many things, right? Like, I also do suffer from adult ADD, so this is hard. Uh, Within wrestling, I wonder if I can make it as an indie wrestler, or and so like my experience with watching the WWE is still new, and I have friends that go there, so now I like watch their stuff. So I wonder, is that the route that people should go? I also wonder about the other things that I enjoy doing. Like I like video editing, and I'm poking around with that again. I like making content, and I like talking to people like you. You know.
Oh, thank you.
So, like exploring thoughts and talking. So that's why I like podcasts and YouTube videos. I'd like to do those more. You know, I'm trying to work out Patreon stuff to help me be able to do those more and worry about other jobs less, you
Yeah.
know? Like if I can just I think you understand that as well. You're
Yeah.
you're kind of in a similar situation where it's like you have a creative baby that you want to bring up, but you need to feed that baby.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you that don't see my face, it's perplexed.
Right. Right. No, we all gotta like take those day jobs or whatever just to sort of pay for our hobbies, our passions and whatnot, and it can be a little bit too much at times.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it gets. I always want to encourage people to follow their passions, no matter how dark it can get, because it gets dark no matter which route you take. But at least you can say that you followed something that you wanted to. You gave something up. You definitely did. Words are so hard in the early morning. I'm sorry. I feel like the idea, we're all trying to either do something we love or do something that allows us to do what we love. Yeah. So that's that.
I mean, that's really refreshing to hear because you always hear people like, I hate people, or there's a lot of negativity coming from a lot of people. So when there's people that have positive outlooks, when you have sort of empathy for people, and for situations, it's good to hear.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I hate people too.
Yeah, you want to eat them all
But
the time. You want to eat their meats.
yeah, totes. They're all a bunch of walking meat bags.
With their butts.
Yeah. Oh, I start with the butt.
That's the meaty part.
It's a terrible joke because there was a Japanese cannibal that got arrested for eating someone's butt in France.
Ooh.
But he was released and then later in a porn. Anyways, the world is a weird
Whoa.
place. Yeah.
That's crazy. So, right now, what's your outlook on everything in regards to Kris Wolf, the pro wrestler? What do you think is going to be happening in 2018 with Kris Wolf?
With Kris Wolf, the wrestler, I'm hoping to wrestle more abroad. Maybe train in a couple of different places. I would like to be more flippy. I'm also trying to do like meetups and things because I think I'm I'm a wrestler, but I also do the YouTube stuff. And sorry, I'm bringing food into my room so I can eat it. But I don't know. I'd like to develop it more. Yeah, like we talked about, being able to do your passion and live off of your passion is everyone's goal. So I'd like that to be my reality in 2018.
Out of all the girls that you've wrestled with, seen in Stardom, who are some of the younger girls that you think are going to have a bright future?
Azumi.
Yeah.
Azumi, Starlight Kid.
I love Starlight Kid.
Yeah, no, she's great. I like I've seen the twins a little bit, and I saw them when they were really, really little, or at least they were shorter than they are now. They're, they have potential. I mean, everyone has potential, but definitely Azumi and Starlight Kid are the ones I'm really looking at. I think everyone is.
Yeah, they're really impressive already, and they're a lot of their matches are really enjoyable.
Yeah. So like Azumi spent a couple of years training with Fuga, she was the one that I was saying started really, really young and started doing kid matches I don't know, more than 3 or 4 years ago. I can't remember. She's my senpai,
Yeah.
But I think even now, like, she has so much more unlocked away, like that she just is waiting to release. Starlight Kid is naturally athletic, understands the ring really, really well. She's a really smart kid too. Like, just she knows his little differences every time we talk. Like, if I have some of them are really obvious, like my red blue contacts. She'll be like, different contacts today, and I'm like, yes. But if I'm wearing like clear ones or like slightly, I don't know, big or gray or whatever fucking color, she's just like, even if it's subtle, she'll notice it. And, she seems smart.
What's sort of like the best way to describe this, the locker room like in Stardom? How do the girls interact with each other?
It's different. It's changed dramatically since I first started, and it continues to change. Like any company, I think, as time goes, it evolves itself. I think now it's much warmer. It's more friendly. There's laughter. It's really nice. I think a lot of that also has to do with the foreigners that have come through the years. Before it was pretty closed off, and I think that kind of went along with the kind of stiffness that Japanese culture can be known for, with the push of foreigner warmth and congeniality. Is that the word I'm looking for? I think it kind of lowered people's defenses and made them more open to just talking, and because the hierarchy in Japan is very, very strict. So the current locker room, I would say, is probably the most lax that I've ever seen it, and has laughter and fun.
With Japanese wrestling, pretty much over the past few years, getting more of a global, audience. Again, more so. Have you seen any sort of Western influence in Japanese wrestling as a whole recently?
Oh, totally. I mean, there's if you watch the matches, you can see influence that has been brought in by wrestlers like Viper, Kaylee Ray, Tony Storm. You know, as much as the foreign wrestlers might be watching Japanese wrestlers, I think Japanese wrestlers are also watching the foreign audiences. I mean, foreign wrestlers as well. You know, their combinations are dynamic and creative, and I think it's inspiring Japanese wrestlers to, mix more things up.
Looking back into your debut match, what was going through your head?
Fuck. What am I doing? Um, it like I feel slowly. It's really really. I don't know if that's just like something that's in my head that it takes a while for me to process things, but I do feel slowly. So I'm okay. Everything's cool. But like the last 15 minutes right before I get in the ring, I'm gagging out of nerves. I'm just like making terrible noises, making other people feel nervous. Like, what? Calm down. I was like, this is okay. This is normal. But at that time, it wasn't normal. I didn't understand what the fuck was going on with my body. But when I got into the ring, it's like I had tunnel vision and I could only see my two opponents. And that's all I focused on. That's all I could focus on. I couldn't hear the crowd. I couldn't see the crowd. I, which helped, I think. And maybe that was my body trying to get me through the stress.
Looking back, what are some of your favorite matches that you've been involved in?
Mm. I really enjoyed my match with Kairi Hojo, now Kairi Sane. It was a Shinkiba match, which was super simple but really fun. We played with each other's strengths and just worked the crowd. I thought it was. I like simple things,
Right.
and she herself was just fun to work with. I really enjoyed my match with Rosa Negra. Um, she beat the shit out of me, but I learned a lot from her. And like looking back, I also really like the way that she moves. Um, Also had a match with Tony Storm at a Momokuro concert. That was a lot of fun because I got to eat her butt.
Yeah, she always throws that button in everybody's face.
What can I do?
Okay, this the dance routine that you do at the beginning of all the Oedo Tai matches. How long did it take to get that down for you?
I think we had one dance rehearsal and when we learned it, and then after that we would just like quickly go through it before the show, which is just like and then the dance formation started to change because it's like, oh well, this person's not in our group anymore, oh this person's not in our group anymore, oh and this person is, so okay, let's go.
Hey, it's one of the best entrances in pro wrestling. It's really fun. Like that's
It
how you
is.
come to a ring.
Yeah. I mean, there were other girls that used to do dances, or they would only do a dance for their debut.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if they do that in the Western world, but they have in Japan. But it wasn't as good as ours.
Nah, that's cool, man. It's cool. As as I wind down this interview, I did. I don't know if you got the question that I emailed to you. This is something that I end all the interviews with now. Who is somebody that was a part of your life or career that I could interview, that would be possible for me to interview, that would have good stories.
Like a wrestler or a person?
Anybody that's who I could realistically interview that maybe people would know that would have good stories. Wrestler, not wrestler, whatever.
Mm. I mean, I think wrestler wise, they all have good stories, but I don't know. Maybe alpha female has a really good story. They all have really good stories. Viper has a really good story. I think she's fun to interview. Tony's out here. She's fun, but I think she gets shy. Nah, Tony's too cool to be shy. I'm just kidding.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I have also my friend Adam who invited me out to Japan, but I don't know if anyone just wants to talk to a random guy who speaks Japanese here in Japan. But he has a lot of cool stories. I mean, he would be someone to talk to if living in Japan is the topic, because he's lived here for 10, 11, 12 years, something like that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. But yeah, maybe alpha female, maybe Viper. Yeah.
All good choices. All good choices. Cool. If now, yeah, if anybody wants to get more information about you online, where can they go?
I'm working on my website, and I always say that, but right now, probably Twitter is my most updated platform. That's at Wolf in Japan. I also have a website, which is feedkriswolf.com. And I have a YouTube at Kris Wolf in Japan. I'm really good at this stuff. Can you tell how organized I am?
Oh, you're amazing.
Yeah. But mostly if you look for Kris Wolf or Wolf in Japan, I should pop up somewhere.
Yeah, it's an easy Google.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I should make it easier for y'all. So it's only one click.
Oh, that's all good. But yeah, it's been great talking with you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And, thanks for scheduling it and everything.
It's all good. I'm glad that it finally came to fruition.
Me too.
All right, thanks. So that was my interview with Kris Wolf. It was a pleasure speaking with her. She's an awesome person. If you read the show notes at freshasthepodcast.com for this episode, it links to all her social media where you can buy merch and also all the dates for her upcoming U.S. and European Wolf Tour are there. So if you are nearby any of those dates, buy a ticket, support independent wrestling, and go say hi to Kris Wolf and tell her that you heard her on the Fresh is the Word podcast. That would be awesome. All right, now on to the Fresh is the Word pick of the week. This week's pick is a strange one. It's a wrestler in Japan. Her name is Maho Kurone. She is known as the Zombie Wrestler or the Zombie Joshi. In just a short time as a wrestler, because her first match was sometime in 2016, Maho has become one of the most interesting wrestlers in Japan. She's a part of the Toyk Joshi Pro promotion that's under the DDT. Her zombie persona is really awesome. It's like a blood dripping zombie. She always has limbs, a hand or something with her. It's mixed with a bit of a death metal look. She's also one half of the tag team called the Dragon Bombers with another popular Joshi talent, Rika Tatsumi. Already, dude, she's already just... There's a lot of potential with Maho. She's super... So, there's a few things that you can watch on YouTube. I did, post a couple of those in the show notes to check out. One of the funniest things was her encounters with another beloved independent wrestler, Joey Ryan, and also with his penis, of course, if you understand that. Don't get grossed out by that. in which there's a time when Maho did win the DDT Iron Man Heavy Metal title from Joey Ryan in a very hilarious way. That video is up in the show notes for this episode. But definitely go online, check out more stuff from Maho. She's very interesting, and I see a lot of potential for her in the future in wrestling. If you want to follow her on Twitter, you can just go to she's at Maho underscore TJP. That's MAHO underscore TJP. Now that was the fresh pick of the week and the end of the show. Thank you for everybody for listening. Like always, I definitely appreciate any support. Please share any episode or any information online with your friends. Tell people about it. I want to build this up to be something super cool, and always make sure to have actionable items in these interviews, that even if you don't know who a Kris Wolf is, or in previous episodes a Dabri or Pursuit Grooves, that you can learn something about what they do, or something that you can use in your own life. That's my goal with this podcast from here on out. So thank you for listening. Goodbye and good night.
Fresh is the word.